You are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.
Hey, happy Saturday. Thanks for stopping by. I'm waiting on my debate partner. That's what this is supposed to be all about. That's what this is supposed to be about, right? So for those of you that don't know, if you didn't read the description of this video, I have some low info, low IQ hate observers on Facebook. Jeff and Connie Wright. They have been just absolutely coming at me with all sorts of just asinine things because I don't should we say bend over and lick the keister of their great white savior Donald Trump. So I, after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of their interaction, I finally said, you know what? Fine. You guys want to accuse me of stuff. You want to accuse me of being, all sorts of things that are just patently untrue. Put your money where your mouth is. Come on my platform live Saturday morning at 11:30. And as you will note, I started promptly at 11:30. And I invited them on the platform. I invited them on to come on for a live debate. I have made this offer hundreds and hundreds of times over the 5+ years that I've been doing this for people on the left and people on the right who disagree with me, who take issue with me. I've done this constantly. And I just absolutely cannot, I cannot think, oh, did we get them? Are they coming in? Oh, it looks like they showed, but they're going to need to.
Yeah, I'm doing a live. I've been trying to show. It wasn't letting me in.
All right, there you are. You're here. Thanks
Yes.
for coming in.
Yeah, no
Thanks for
problem.
coming in. So you don't like me much.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say that if I don't like you or whether I do or don't, I don't agree with you. I don't know you enough to say I like you or I don't like you because that's not how I judge people. I'm telling you that I don't agree with the things that you say. I don't agree with you. And I
Okay.
think you have a problem with that. I think you have a big
No,
problem with it.
I have no problem. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. What I have a problem with is being told that I'm something that I'm not because you disagree with me. You
Well, you
said
have to also understand, but you asked me to tell you why I feel that way. And first of all, I'm going to tell you right now that I am at a wrestling meet.
Totally understand.
But there was no way, there was zero chance I was going to let you call me a coward or anything else or say I wasn't going to show up. So I'm at a wrestling meet. I'm not going to miss my seniors last year of wrestling, a varsity match.
Would not ask
So
you
I
to.
I am on limited time.
Totally
I'm
understand.
sorry.
I wouldn't ask you to do
Okay,
that.
thank
That would
you.
be
Um, okay, well, I appreciate that because like I said, I am on borrowed time here, and my time's precious, and that's my top priority.
absolutely.
But I'm going to just quickly tell you why I feel the way that I do, and then you can do with it what you want, really, honestly. I don't like, I feel like, first of all, I don't even know how we ended up we're not even in the same state. So I'm not really sure how we ended up as even social media acquaintances, if you will, but that's neither here nor there. It happens all the time. But this is what I see. I see F the police, F ICE, and Orange Man bad. And now I see CDS, which I'm considering Connie derangement syndrome, because you've completely. So now that's your four things. It's me, Orange Man bad, F police, F ICE. And I am totally for law enforcement. I think they do a great job. I
Do
don't
they?
think all police officers are bad. I think that there's corruption, of course. I think that there
Mhm,
needs to be accountability, but they're not all bad. I have family and loved ones who are law enforcement, and they are
mhm.
great people. I don't like when this is the problem that I have with somebody in your position. One, you say that you're an independent journalist. So first of all, you should be able to handle
Yeah, I
that's
handle
what you said.
criticism
You said
fine.
you're, but you, well, I
Yeah.
don't think so. But regardless,
No,
you say that
I'll let you talk,
journalist.
but I know you got a limited amount of time. I am fine with
Well,
critique. What I'm not fine with is labeling me a demon rat, calling me a PDF file, and you know what that stands for, because you called me a
mhm.
PDF file. You basically attacked my support of veterans and the troops. You've made it very clear that criticism of law enforcement is the same as hating individual cops.
Well,
And
here's the thing.
and
I
you've
asked
jumped
you.
to some conclusions. You've jumped to some conclusions about law
I don't
enforcement
think
because
so.
because you don't know anything about my background or my family connections.
But you don't know about my background or my family
But
connection. And
I didn't make
well,
accusations about
here's the
you.
thing. I've asked you several questions, which you've not answered one
So
single
give
question,
me the
not
first one you want
one.
me to answer. Give me the first one you
No,
want me to
well,
answer.
here's the thing. I have asked you. I've asked you multiple times. You want to know why I feel the way about you that I do? One, because I've asked you multiple times. I said, okay, you have Orange Man Bad syndrome. You have TDS.
No, I don't.
Why?
Voted
Well,
for him.
I disagree. I disagree.
I
Well,
voted
maybe you're
I voted
somebody.
for him.
Well, maybe you did. But why do you have?
Mhm.
When I see what you post, it looks to me like you have TDS. I'm just telling you, it
No,
does. And I'm not the
I
only
have
one that's
conscious
noticed it.
that's
I'm not
fine,
the
but
only one.
there
Well, you can
okay,
defend it, and that's fine.
um,
I'm telling you how I feel. You asked me
right, but
to tell you why I feel the way that I do.
are feelings more important than facts?
I think that, and why do you think that I've posted things? Because I do believe that there's facts out there. I don't go off my feelings. You assume that I'm a bootlicker and I'm a MAGA and all this, which I am MAGA
You are
because
a
I
mega,
I
yeah.
I do stand for making America great, keeping
You called
America
me
great. I want
is
us to
calling
be
me a
a
racist and
wonderful.
keep is calling me a
I want
racist in keeping with being mega?
I want what I consider myself is I want safe borders. I want secure
So,
borders,
yeah,
which
I'm
means
for
we need ICE. We need ICE.
I am
Then we need ICE.
I'm a paleo libertarian who's in
Well,
support of closing the borders.
but
So
but the things that you post don't support that. I'm just telling you.
ICE is violating due process
They're not.
constantly every day. Yes,
They're
they
not.
are.
They're not. They're
They
not.
are.
I don't I
They
disagree.
absolutely
I
are.
disagree.
You can disagree, Connie, but you're
Well,
wrong. They do violate due
well,
process, and
I
they
think
have
they're doing a
arrested
great job.
American citizens. They've arrested American
Do you know
citizens.
I've
Just
okay, I'm as white. I'm so white that I make Casper Ghost look like he went to Florida and got a tan. Okay? I have been detained by ICE before. Okay? It's a simple process. All you do is you comply. First of all, it's not rocket science. You don't get in their face. You don't act like it's ridiculous.
I
I
can
think
do
that they're doing
that.
their job.
American citizens can get in their face. It's our
Well,
right.
but again, then you wonder why things happen. I'm just saying, if you want to be that way and you want to get in their face and whatever, that's fine. That's your prerogative.
Is it
But I'm
illegal
saying
to get in ICE's face when they're going after American citizens?
they don't know that you're an American citizen. Your
So ho
skin color
so
doesn't determine that.
so
Does your skin
so
color
so
determine if you're
so
an American
so
citizen? Does
wait a
your
minute,
skin
wait a minute,
color
wait a
determine if you're an American citizen?
So
Yes or
you
no?
believe we should be required to carry some form of proof that we are an American on us at all times?
I think that
Uh,
if you are stopped and asked, I think you should give them your information. They can take care of that
you should be
situation right away, and
required
you're
to
on your merry way.
you should be
I
required to
think that
produce
there
your
should.
papers. Produce your papers.
I didn't say papers. What do you not carry an ID?
How do
You don't
you
have a
prove?
driver's license? Because they
If
can
I'm
run that.
walking
I mean,
down the road,
seriously, do
if I'm
you
walking down
think?
the street, should I be required to have ID on me to prove that I'm an American?
I think that it doesn't hurt to have your ID on you at all times for
Not what does
multiple reasons.
oh,
Now,
no, 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 no.
if you don't, and you're
Should they
detained,
be?
there's other ways for them to actually verify it. You don't have
So
to prove it right
so
at that moment.
you are advocating that you better keep your papers on you in case ICE decides they want to stop you
I
no
don't know
matter where
what you
you
mean by
are.
papers. I don't know what you mean by papers.
Identification,
Okay, that's
Connie.
like a driver's license. Okay, like a
That's
driver's
papers.
license.
That's papers.
Uh, I
That's
I
papers.
think that it's very important that in the situation that we're going through right now, I think that we should have. So, are you against voter ID?
I'm against
Are you
anyone
against voter
who
ID? So you're against
I
voter ID, and you think that
can
it's
I
okay
you
for
didn't you
illegals to go? Well,
No, I
listen, you
didn't.
have
I
to have
think you should be
ID.
able to.
You
I
should
think
have.
you should be able
Okay.
to. I think you should be able to. You should identify yourself, but I also think you should own property
Oh,
to be allowed to
but why?
vote.
Why would you have to have those papers? Why would you need those
Because
papers?
there's a difference between voting
Well,
and walking down
oh,
the
okay.
street.
Well, what you're saying is happening isn't happening. I
It
think
is
that
happening. It is
no, you're not
happening.
just walking down the street and ICE is taking you out. That's not happening.
No, there are
That's not
people who are just
happening.
showing up to observe ICE and shoot video
Oh,
who are being
observe.
arrested.
You got
Who are
that, you
being
guys.
arrested for
They're
shooting
just
video.
observing. They're
Yes.
just observing. They're
Yes.
throwing things at
Yes.
their cars. They're
No, there
doing all
was
that.
a
But you
there
know what,
no there
guys? They're just observing. You heard it right here. They're just observing. So all that video footage you're seeing out there of them attacking the
I
ICE
have
vehicles and all that, that
I
just
have
can't be
never
fake.
once. You will never be
Okay,
able to.
they're
No,
observing. They're just observing.
Connie. This is two-way.
No, nope,
You're
nope, nope,
talking. This is two-way.
nope.
Have you
Well, it
once
isn't
ever heard me
two-way
advocate
because
for
you
people
listen.
physically attacking? Have you ever heard me read anywhere I advocated people physically attacking anyone, let alone ICE? Have you ever read that?
The
Have
things
you
that
ever
you
read it?
yeah
Have you
the
watched
things
any?
that you
Have I
post
advocated?
the
No,
things that
not
you
what you
post is
think.
f ice. These people have the right to do this.
I say F the
That's what you
government.
that is
F the
literally
government.
what you run
F
on.
the government. F the
Literally
government.
what you run on. Literally,
F
it's
the
f-ice.
government.
My
Honey, F
goodness,
the government. All
you
government.
literally
All
had a
government.
picture of a
All government.
female. He has a picture of a female officer with her dog on his Facebook page, and nothing's there. He doesn't know this officer, and yet he's saying all the police
Yeah.
officers are bad. They're all bad, and and their dogs, they're using them as weapons. So
Yes.
I guess if you have a guard dog at home, it must be a weapon. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Guard
And
dog is a
I
weapon.
have even said to you, not all officers are bad. I gave you examples on your page. I gave you three examples.
And I said
You did not.
and I
You
said
never. I asked
the
you, are
majority
they
are
good or
corrupt.
bad? You
I said the
didn't.
majority are corrupt.
You did not.
I said
I
the
asked you
majority are corrupt.
specifically.
I said the majority.
I asked you specifically several times. Is this a good thing this officer is doing? And you refused to answer it. I asked you, if Orange Man's so bad, would you have rather had Harris? You never answered. You don't answer my questions. So what does that? Your
No, I voted
silence
for Orange Man
speaks
because I didn't
volumes.
want Harris.
Your
I voted
silence,
for
it speaks
I
volumes.
I
Speaks
voted
volumes.
for Harris. I
When
voted for
when
Harris.
you're silent,
Are
you
you
don't
going to
answer
have
people
a conversation or are
who
you going to
come at
continue
you
to
with questions.
are
I'm
you going
sorry,
to
but
have a
you know what?
conversation? Are
That
you going to
speaks
have a
absolute
Are
volume.
you going to
And
let
then you
me
wonder why I think
interact?
that. Just like the situation
Connie,
where you
we're
went
not having a
to, hey,
conversation.
I'm on
Connie, you're
limited
making
time. You have
right,
all
but
day to bash me and say whatever you want. I'm
I
on
haven't
limited time.
bashed
So
you.
I'm going to
I
speak.
haven't bashed you.
And
I
then,
haven't bashed
on
you.
Facebook,
Other
you
than calling,
absolutely have. You
I called you low info. I called you low info and low IQ, and you are showing you are low info and low IQ
Listen,
right now. You are showing your low info and low
guys,
IQ
I'm going
right
to
now,
tell you
Connie.
right now. I'm going to tell you. He has literally spoke about me every single day. And you know what? He's going to
For
speak
the
about me
last
more
3
today.
days
He'll speak about me tomorrow.
as I'm
He will
priming the
continue to
pump.
speak about
No,
me.
I won't.
I
After
promise
this,
you, all of Oprah and
Connie,
Trump,
are
and
you
we'll throw
talking
in
to
all
your
the money of
Connie, are you
everybody.
talking
And
to your
guess
peanut
what?
gallery? Are you talking to the
He
peanut
is
gallery? Are you
going to
talking to
continue
Connie?
to speak about me because he told
Connie,
everybody he was going to obliterate me. He's going
I
to thrash me because one, he doesn't know the difference between a man and a woman because I've told him several times that I'm a woman, but he continues to
addressed
call
the
me a
account,
dude
not the
and various other things. So obviously he doesn't know the difference between a man and a woman. Secondly, I asked him a simple
This is going to
question.
play so
You're a
well.
journalist. Why don't you go ahead and use your platform for something good? And you'd have thought I asked him to take tampons out of the bathroom because he lost it and said, I'm trying to dictate his show and I'm this and that. I wasn't. I asked him, why not use it for good? Why not talk
I
about
do use
the
it for
fact
good.
that child sex trafficking is they're busting 35% more. They have saved
Right.
almost
While
5,000
local law
children just
enforcement
since
takes part in
January.
medical
This is
Connie,
wonderful,
Connie,
wonderful, wonderful
Connie,
things. And
Connie,
guess what?
Connie,
Guess what?
Connie,
Here's the thing.
Connie,
When I
Connie,
asked you about it,
Connie.
you would not answer the question. You refused to answer. And and then you
Because I
wonder
was
why
saving
people
it for
think of you the
this.
way that they do.
I was saving it for this
No,
because
you
this is
don't save
exactly
it.
what I knew you would do.
No,
No, I
no,
do.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
you
no.
don't
No,
dictate to
come
me
on.
how I respond.
Come on. Even somebody else called you out for the basic thing that you're doing, trying to dictate. Well, nobody's going to tell me
Yeah,
what I
it's
talk
my
about on my show.
platform. I get
Nobody's
to
going to do
dictate.
this. And then what did
Yeah,
you
and
call that person?
you're making a
Called that
blithering
person. Let
idiot
me
out of
see. Let
yourself
me
right
look
now.
here. You called that person a that he was just a random weirdo. Well, you know what? You're the random weirdo to me. And I also think it's
Who's
very strange and weird that you go up to women up on a stage and just throw your arm around them. Obviously, the woman didn't like it, as it says here, that she cringed and that it's cringy. That is cringy. It's disrespectful. It's
what
cringy.
are you
And that's
talking about?
narcissistic behavior. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I literally which stage, which woman? Name her.
Well, let me see.
Which
I
stage,
will.
which
Give me just
woman?
a second. Oh, and also, you obviously are very
Which
upset that this
stage?
person doesn't like you.
Which stage, which woman?
Larvita Larvita McFarquhar was speaking on the lawn for cameras when you walked up like a cocky dork and she cringed as you put your arm around her. That's really disturbing, extremely disturbing. And and I mean, honestly, that is cringy and it's not okay.
Mm.
That right there, again, spoke volumes. I
Yep.
don't think that that was I think it was very disrespectful
where did you find this comment?
on your page. And as a matter of fact, you responded. However, you responded later on because you accused this person of sticking up for me, which this person didn't stick up for me. They just called you out. They called you out. Um, it's
They
very.
were
They
defending
called
you.
you out. They called you out.
Called me a
Leftists
narcissist.
would
Yep.
have fun taking
Yep.
screenshots of
Yeah,
your
you're
post
talking
and
about
posting
Toby
them like you're
Hesselgrove. Yeah, I
here to
engaged.
mic
I interacted with
characterize
him. Yep.
independents, libertarians, patriots of all shades, even
Mm.
MAGA and America First as being like you. Ooh.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have to agree with
Oh
this
no.
person.
Oh no.
I
Mega
wasn't going to speak the
Mega
person's
doesn't.
name because honestly, I'm not going to call somebody out like that. But hey, if you're listening by any chance, you are spot on,
Mm.
spot
So
on
what this
about
comes
him.
down to is you think I
And
should be
then you
falling
go
in
back
line.
later, then you go back
What you
later
think I
and you
should be
say, and then
doing?
you are so worried about what this person thinks about you that you go back later and you say things like,
I've known
oh,
Toby
but
for
if you don't,
5 years.
I
I've
want
known
you
you
to
for
go.
less than a year.
I,
So
I don't care how long you've known him. You're obviously concerned that he doesn't like you. I mean, you are literally concerned that this guy doesn't like you. So much so that you wait because it's stewing in your mind. You wait and then you have to go back later and then you're addressing it. I don't expect you to watch hours of video to these interactions, but to chastise me for my interactions with people that misrepresent me and use outrageous slurs. And
yeah,
because I
you
don't
used
backtrack, which I
outrageous
don't care.
slurs.
I
You
don't care
called
if
me a
you,
pedophile.
honestly,
You
I don't
called me
care
a
if,
pedophile. You called me a
well, this is what
pedophile.
I'm going to say about that. This is what I'm
You
going to
called me a no. You called me a pedophile.
I'm going to publicly say this of, oh my gosh, is that person all right? Oh crap. Sorry, somebody just fell. We
No,
are having a bad storm. We have a bad snowstorm here and somebody just fell. So I'm just trying to look to make
if they need
sure that
help,
they're
go help
okay.
them. I would never want you to not help them.
Okay, looks like they made it to their car. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. I just that
No, if you
concerned
need to
me.
help somebody, go help somebody. So
But
are they
anyway,
all
what
right?
I was
Did
saying
you
was
call me a pedophile?
yes.
Yes or no? You did, right?
This is what I'm going to say about that. Honestly, I don't remember that. I may have. But I'm going to publicly apologize for that part of it because
Mhm.
honestly, and this is my fault if I
Called me a
did do this.
racist.
No, no,
You called me a
I'm going
racist.
to Well, and I still believe that you've got some of that there. But the pedophile part, here's what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to say two things. One, that may have possibly been meant for another person I was having an exact conversation with as I was with you, because your names are very, very similar and you have a lot of the same ideology. Orange man bad, F the police, F ICE, and all that. That may have possibly been. But with that being said, I'm also going to say your lack of answering when I say it's not a good, is it not a good thing that child sex trafficking rings are being busted, and you don't answer? And I asked you multiple times, even before you demanded that I come on at this time today, because you didn't ask if this time worked for me. You literally said, "Will you come on or you're a coward?" That's what you
Mhm.
said. You
Yep.
didn't take into
Yep.
consideration that I have a
Don't
family,
care.
that I may
Don't
be
care.
busy,
Don't
and
care.
and
You
that's
have all the
and
time in
that
the world
you
to
know
come onto
what and you
Facebook,
know
and
what
you
but
have
that's
all
why
ti
I'm here. That's
you have
why I'm
all the
here.
time
And
you
that's
had
right,
all
you
the
don't
time in the
care. You
world.
don't care because that's the narcissistic
You're right, I
Marxist
don't care.
behavior, just exactly like that other person called you
Okay,
out on. There's been
show
two people that,
show how I'm a Marxist. Show my Marxism.
well, like I said,
Can
you're
you
sitting here
can
and
you
you've got to
define?
dictate because you dictate, just like that other person said. You're the person that
It's
wants to
my
dictate
platform. I
every
get to dictate
single
whatever I
thing.
want on my platform. And
Well,
I've literally let
but you
you
don't
run
want,
off at the
but see,
mouth.
that's the
I have
problem. That's
literally
the
let you
problem.
I have literally
You don't
I
want
have
people
literally let
to
you run
come
off at
at
I have
you.
literally
You
let you
can't
run up.
stand it.
You're
You can't
coming at
stand
me
it.
this whole
Especially,
time.
I think, and personally, I think it's because I'm a woman also. You can't stand
No.
the fact that
I
somebody has actually stood up and they're not afraid. See, the thing
I've
of it
been
is I don't, you don't scare me. You don't bother
I'm
me.
not
I'm
I
going to
don't
go
want
on
you
with
to be
my
scared
life.
of me. I don't want you to be
I'm
scared
going to
of
go
me.
on with
I'm
my
not
life. My life is going to be wonderful. God has blessed me. I am very blessed. And I thank God every day for the
and that's
opportunity.
wonderful.
And
I'm
I'm going to
happy
tell
for
you,
you.
I don't have this. You're not the important person to me. You're irrelevant to me, quite
And why do
honestly.
you spend
Um,
so many hours a week insulting me?
Hours? I don't spend
You
hours. Are
did.
you kidding me?
Days,
Hours?
days. You spent
Police,
days saying terrible things
police.
about me this week. You spent days
Police
saying terrible things
hours.
about this.
I'm not even on Facebook hours a week. I don't have time to be. If I have a little downtime, I jump on.
Mm,
And the thing of it is I don't go and
okay,
search you out. If you come up on my page, I say something. And I'm going to continue to say something. I'm going to
great.
continue to be that little
Is
annoying
it
gnat that you're not going to
you
like. Okay? That's going to be the
Hey,
bottom line of it. The bottom
after this,
line
I'm
is
done.
you and we're not going to
you are the
agree.
best,
We
you
are
are the
not going
best
to agree.
for
Just like
algorithm
you
right now.
sent me
This is
that,
the best algorithm stuff.
you sent me that link. Oh, but I showed him. That's what you said. I
I
showed him. I
absolutely
told it to
destroyed
him.
the fat
And guess what?
bootlicker.
You
I
literally
destroyed
walked
him.
up to that guy who said, "I'm a liberal. I'm very, very left leaning." And the whole time you're like, "I agree with everything you're saying. I agree with you. I agree with you." And I'm just sitting there rolling. And the other one, oh gosh, this
I
one
never
really
said
got
I
me.
agreed with
This one
his
really got me.
position.
When he went
I
to the No Kings, okay, this one really got me. When he went to the No Kings,
mhm.
the person that he talked to, and this is all you talk about, is F the police, F ICE, Orange Man bad, and now me. So he goes up to this guy and he says, there's ask at a Kirk vigil. He goes up to him and then he asks him about ICE and wearing the mask. And the guy
It
explains to him,
wasn't at
yeah,
a Charlie Kirk
I think
vigil.
they
That
should.
No, get your facts straight. That was
Or
not.
was it the No Kings? I don't know. It might
It
have
was
been the
the
No
No
Kings.
Kings, and that guy
They only
interjected in the comment, and
he only sent me two links when I asked him, because
I sent
according to
you a
him,
link to the entire
he
video. I
no,
sent you
he
a
s-
link to the entire video, and I sent
the
you the
entire
link where
video
I
was like
proved that the
45
guy
minutes
was
long,
wrong.
and like 30 minutes of
Yeah.
it was him walking around. He's not news, he's snooze.
Oh,
um
okay.
the snooze.
Yep.
Anyway, he goes up to this guy, they're talking, and the
This
guy
is
said, well,
awesome. This
they shouldn't
everybody
be
watches
they
this is
shouldn't
going
be
to hear what's
doxxed.
wrong with you.
They shouldn't be
Yeah.
doxxed. And the thing of it is that he then tells this guy, after his whole page is F the police, and then he says, "Oh well, we could go to the law enforcement, we could go to the police." Are you kidding me? After you've literally just said F the police, F, I mean, And that's the answer
I
that he gives
don't.
it
I
us.
literally said
Not
I
one
don't
single
call the
thing
police.
has he
I
ever.
literally
And
said
he
I don't
claims that
call
he
the police.
obliterates people. He doesn't obliterate anybody. He doesn't.
I
He does
destroyed the
not
fat
obliterate
guy.
anybody.
I destroyed the fat guy because I brought statistics. I
He did not. He didn't
did.
destroy him. He didn't destroy him. I haven't
He
seen him destroy anybody, to be quite honest.
well,
I've
right.
not
I
seen
don't
it.
have to do any
I've not
destroying
seen
right
it.
now because the
I've
audience
not
is
seen it.
watching. The audience is watching you destroy yourself.
Well,
The
that's
audience
fine.
is, yeah, they're
Listen,
watching you destroy yourself.
how you feel about me and how your
Then why did you
clan,
show up?
your
Because you didn't
followers,
want to be called a coward. Because you didn't want to be called a coward.
because
So it
you're
does
not,
matter.
because
So it does
no,
matter. So it
no,
does
I wasn't
matter.
going to give you that satisfaction. I wasn't going to give you the
Right.
opportunity to boost your
who's
low
the
T
narcissist?
and
So
pat and beat yourself on your chest and say, "Oh, I obliterated, I got him."
you are
Because
a
all
bootlicker.
you
You
said
said the
on your
majority
page
of cops. You
for the
you are a
last
bootlicker.
4
You are a
days, for the
statist.
last
You
4
are a
days, all he's
statist.
done is
You
he
are a
he
statist.
puts
You are a
out
statist.
little messages about me, and
You are
he
a
just
statist.
turns around
You
and
are a
he
statist
says,
bootlicker.
I'm going to
You
thrash,
believe
just like this other person said. That's literally what you say. You say it every single time. That's why they kind of roll their eyes. Here we go again. Every single time. That's what he does. That's what he says. And he says, well, they're cowards. They can't face me. Don't come on. Well, that's because people
I
have
gave you
lives. They
credit for
live
showing
it.
up.
Most
Good
people
on
wouldn't
you
give you
being
the
here.
time of day.
Good for you being
They
here.
wouldn't give
But
him
the
the time of day.
problem
You
is,
got to
you're not
understand.
having an interaction. You're not having an interaction with me. You're just
Listen, the
filibustering. You're
bottom,
filibustering.
you and I, we're not going to agree.
You're
We're not
right,
going to
because
agree. You and I are not going to agree on
a
things.
statist bootlicker. You are a statist bootlicker. Like, you just say it. Like, you believe the cops are all good. I've got story after story after story. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life. I've done more pro-life work. I've done more pro-life. I've done more pro-life work than you have ever done, Connie. I have done.
I want less government.
You don't want less government. You just been arguing this entire time for government. You've been arguing for more government control this entire time. You believe that American citizens should be required to produce proof that they're an American citizen if they get stopped by ICE. You said it, not me. Everybody can go back. Oh, we lost. We lost them. We'll see if they show back up. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. Oh my, this was better than when Royce White showed up. Oh my goodness. Oh. But said she claims, that she doesn't spend hours. Oh, I was ready for this. Here we go. So this was the one that I finally said I've had enough. And it's where she calls me, she says, racist much? Would you have left TDS if he were black? Now, the irony of this comment is that anybody who knows me knows how much I hate identitarian politics. What she was upset with me about was the fact that I used the phrase great white savior. I said great white savior. And for those of you who don't know, great white savior is a play on the phrase great white hope. And Great White Hope was a novel. Let's see if I can. I want to get this facts up. I'm asking GPT. So The Great White Hope was written by Howard Sackler. It's a 1967 play inspired by the life of heavyweight boxing champion Jack Johnson, and it won the Pulitzer Prize for drama. And I use the play on the Great White Hope by referring to Trump as the Great White Savior. Now, my bad, terrible me. I have read the screenplay, and I make literature references in a lot of things. I make a ton of literature references all the time. So it's a mistake on my part to remember that, and this is not directed at you, my regular audience. Oh, they're back. Here they go.
I lost internet. I couldn't get the internet back up.
So I know you're on a limited amount of time, but I was explaining to the audience, because you said racist much to my post about the great white savior being Donald Trump. And so you immediately jumped to this, you must be a racist.
Well, why would you bring in color? What difference does it make?
Because I'm not bringing in color. I'm making a
literally called him the white savior.
Connie, can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
I'm sorry, but to me that sounded racist. You can, but it's not going to change my mind.
Because you don't know the reference. Because you don't know the
reference. But okay.
No,
if you're wanting to catch somebody like me, and you say white savior, Connie, I'm sorry, but that's not okay. That's not okay.
I'm muting you for a second. I'm muting Connie for a second. Connie, I'm muting you because you need to understand that I make references to literature, and my reference to Donald Trump as the great white savior is a throwback to the screenplay from 1967, The Great White Hope, which was about a boxer. That's why. So, my bad.
When you throw stuff out there,
my bad that I made a reference to a piece of literature that you aren't exposed to. I guess I should keep in mind that you aren't exposed to literature. My bad that
when you bring in, when you say the great white savior, I mean, that shouldn't be said. And especially if that's just, I'm the first person coming on and that's what I see. No,
wait a minute.
No, you don't. Now, if you're going to be this independent journalist, you can't just assume that people know what you're, when you say that, you can't just assume that you're right.
So you're right. I should not assume that the vast majority of my audience are intellectual enough and educated enough to make a right, because I made a reference to The Great White Hope, the book about a boxer coming from behind and winning. It's not my fault that you don't have literary skills. It's not my fault that you don't have the literary knowledge to understand that.
After all your other posts of Orange Man Bad, there's 0, 0, 0. Wait, and anybody would just automatically know that that's what you're talking about. There's just, when you're talking about something
folks, we are going to show just how funny her accusations about me being a racist are. We are going to absolutely show how funny these are. We're going to show how funny these are.
I don't want to miss an important event. I'm going to have to go, but I'm going to leave it with this. You and I we're not going to agree. I will continue.
You're right. We're never going to agree because I believe in liberty and the Constitution, and you believe in statism.
I promise you, he's going to continue to talk about me. He's going to continue to reference
me.
He's going to tell people he obliterated me. I can promise you. I promise you. That's what he's going to do. You and I, we're not going to agree, but I'm going to give you this advice. You need to know yourself.
I don't need your advice. I don't need your advice. I'm far better at this than you are.
And that's the bottom line. He needs to get over himself. He needs to know himself, grow himself, so he can get over himself. I agree with the people that have called him out. I agree with the statements of the people that have called him out. I think that you're everything. You haven't changed my mind about anything. I think exactly the same way about you as I did. Probably after reading about what you did with that woman on that stage, probably I think even less of you. I think that was that's very narcissistic.
Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. She's a good friend of mine, and I know it's just terrible. I put my arm around a good friend.
That's why it was observed that she cringed. It was cringy. I agree with the person. It was cringy. It was disrespectful. It was uncalled for. Even I was.
But it's okay for Donald Trump to say grab him by the pussy. But it's okay for Donald Trump to say grab him by the pussy.
Very cringy. Very cringy.
Yeah, it's okay for the president of the United States to say grab him by the pussy, but I can't put my arm around around a good friend who I help stand up and fight against the lockdowns with. Yeah.
It was observed that she cringed. Okay. Whatever. Keep telling yourself that. It was disrespectful. And I don't know if you're married or not, but if you are, that's also disrespectful to your wife, in my opinion. Maybe she's okay with it, but in my opinion, I think it's disrespectful. I don't, when I read stuff like that, I don't think that it was okay. But regardless, um, like I said, we're not going to agree. I'm going to
You're right,
continue.
we're not. You are a bootlicking statist, and I am a liberty-loving, Constitution-honoring, oath-keeping American veteran who also spent almost 13 years in law enforcement. So,
I see something that I disagree with. I'm going to continue to call it out. I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to go away. You're not going to obliterate me. You're not going to, because you are irrelevant. Anybody that follows you is irrelevant to me. You don't.
oh, did you hear that? She just said anybody who follows me is irrelevant. All my thousands of channel subscribers are all irrelevant.
I'm talking about their thoughts of me. I literally just said what you think of me. And I'm telling you, it doesn't change my life. It doesn't change anything about me. I'm going to go on, live my life, live a great life. Hope you do the same. But we're not going to agree on any of this. And
right,
you can do
because you're a bootlicking statist.
You're a bootlicking statist. You can continue to bash me. You can continue to call me MAGA. You can continue to say I'm a bootlicker.
You are MAGA. You said yourself you're proudly MAGA. I just want people to stop being MAGA and start being America first, America only. America first, America only.
I'm very much America
first. No, you're not, because the president that you adore, the president that you adore is sending billions of dollars to Israel.
Trafficking to stop.
Billions of dollars to Israel. That's committing genocide with your tax dollars. Your president, our president, is spending billions of dollars to Israel that's committing genocide. Committing genocide. Geopolitical Zionist Israel is committing genocide. That is not America first.
I want parents to have rights over their children when it comes to their education.
So do I. I am such an advocate for that my kids didn't spend a single day in government-operated schools. My kids never spent a day in government-operated schools. Not one. Not one. My kids has never spent a day in government-operated schools because I love my kids. How's that?
Not everybody has that opportunity to be able to do that, but I think that there needs to be indoctrination.
We sacrifice. We
need indoctrination of our children to stop.
Absolutely. So we should close the government schools. Close the government schools. All
of it. I don't care how you want to live your life, if you want to be a transgender or whatever, but it should not be pushed off on children.
Agree 100%. I will challenge you. I will challenge you, Connie, to find one place where I have ever advocated for it. Show me one. You said I supported it. And you said I supported it.
You know what?
You said I supported it. You said I supported it. You lied and said I supported it.
By your silence. You literally, when I asked you questions about it, you were silent.
Because I don't owe you answers when you lie. When you lie. When you lied. You made an accusation. You made an accusation because I don't care for how Donald Trump is doing things, and you decided to lie.
Everything I need to know. Your silence speaks volumes. It tells me everything I need to know. And you know what? You're telling me you don't owe me an answer. Well, I don't owe you things either. I don't owe.
You're right. You don't. And I'm glad that you showed up because everybody's seeing how completely unhinged you are.
I don't have to prove anything to you. And
you made accusations and told me it was my job to prove they weren't true.
Yeah, you've yet to do it. So there we go.
No,
this is what I see
made
on
accusations.
I see on your. This is the things I see on this page. Orange man bad. F the police. F ICE. That's it. Orange man bad. F the police. F ICE. Nothing else.
Yeah,
you said
law enforcement is utterly corrupt from the streets to the top to the bottom. Less than 5% of the cops out there are good, but I have videos interacting with the cops that are good.
There's nothing else. You've literally not talked about anything else that I personally have seen. There's nothing else.
Because you choose to ignore the parts that you don't that you can't use against me. You choose to use.
That's what pops up on my feed.
Oh, I wonder why. Could it be that the algorithm has you more figured out than you could possibly imagine? Maybe the algorithm is sending you. Maybe the algorithm is sending you to my page because you need to be exposed to something beyond the bootlicking statism.
No, I don't think so because I get a lot of good other stuff. A lot of stuff. I've seen like maybe I have literally posted on 3 or 4 of your posts. I don't see
and every time you post, you're unhinged. Every time you post, you're unhinged. Unhinged. You say just absolutely asinine things.
I don't believe that I'm unhinged. I challenge you. I question you.
Here's TC.
Thank you again
Here
for
I
consistently
am.
being one of the guys I can point to for being
You
one
cannot
of the
handle
good
me. You
apples.
cannot handle
I
being
mean that.
challenged.
You know I'm
You cannot
critical
handle
at
being
times, but
challenged. And that's the bottom line.
it's always nice
Yeah,
to
here I
point
am,
somebody
just
you know
saying
locally
terrible bad
and say,
things
hey,
about
this
cops
guy
over
is
here.
one of the good apples, and
And
so
I'm
I
going to tell
appreciate
you,
it.
I don't really know a lot about this individual because I'm not from the state of Minnesota, but I am going to say that people that have challenged you, like, is it Roy, what's his name? Roy Rice, Roy, what? I don't know what his name is, but anyway,
Royce
he
White.
challenged. I agree with him. He had, and I'm telling you, I think he was spot on. And you know,
Okay. Royce White's a great example. You don't think that race and ethnicity should be brought into a conversation, but Royce White always brings up race and ethnicity. Royce White always brings up race and ethnicity. Royce White always brings up race and ethnicity every single time.
I'm talking about when it comes to you. Like I literally just said, I don't know really much else about him. I literally just said that. But again, you don't listen. And that's your problem.
No, I did hear you, but you're over here calling me a racist for making a reference to a work of literature and applying it to Donald Trump, but you don't want to hear about Royce White, but you just want to bring him up because you agree with him, but you don't know anything about him. I don't really know anything about him, but I agree with him.
The only thing I know about him is that he leans conservative and he has a lot of the same principle and values as
Yeah, and he's got a massive amount of criticism for all the campaign irregularities. He brings up his race as a weapon all the time. If you don't support him, then you're a racist. He does that. He believes in identity politics. And that was one of the things I challenged him on because I don't do identity politics.
If somebody doesn't support you, then you say things like, I'm going to obliterate him. I'm going to thrash him. I can't wait till I thrash you. Because, that's what independent.
You're right. I didn't have to thrash you today because everybody who watches this could see the person with the problem is you because you can't have a philosophical conversation. You cannot have a philosophical conversation. You can't have a philosophical conversation. You've literally not allowed me to speak on my own platform, and I have muted you one time to finish my point.
We're not going to agree. The thing of it is,
I don't care if we don't agree. You're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong, Connie. It's okay to be wrong. You are wrong. You are.
No, I don't think that I am, and that's okay. You can be wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. Just like you told this guy, well, if you don't, why don't you go out and look at other things instead of just criticize me? And if you're not going to do that, well, then just don't answer anything or post anything on my page at all. I mean, really? Okay.
No, that is not what I said. What I said was is we may not be right for each other's circles, but all you ever do is criticize. All you ever do is criticize.
At you and disagree with you. Your immediate response was, "Well, you're just a random weirdo." That was your immediate response.
Yeah, because a random weirdo came onto my wall that I've never interacted with before and had something to offer, and it wasn't even a criticism.
You're a random weirdo that popped up on my page that likes to put his arms around women and it's cringeworthy because you think you're cocky and narcissistic enough to do that. You think you're privileged. You think you're entitled.
Wait a minute, Karen. Wait a minute, Karen. I think I'm privileged. What kind of privilege? What kind of privilege, Karen? What kind of privilege, Karen? What kind of privilege, Karen? What kind of privilege there, Karen? Come on, what kind of privilege do I have? What's my privilege? What's my privilege? Is it white privilege? Is it male privilege? Is it, no, but what is it? What's my privilege? What's my privilege? Is it male privilege? Is it white privilege? Is it?
It's a TT privilege. TT privilege.
Oh, it is. Okay.
On his head. He thinks you're that much of yourself. I seriously do believe that you do have definite narcissistic tendencies. I think that
that's rich. That's rich coming from the person who hasn't shut up once through this entire thing.
Well, because you have all day and probably tomorrow, and like I said, I will be continuing to be the topic of you because you.
No,
because
I'm after this. Yourself. I'm done. After this, I'm done. I'll finish out the show, and I'll.
You can't help yourself.
I can what?
You can't help yourself. He won't. I'm telling you, he can't help himself. He will. You wait till I comment again. If he bothers to come up on my page again, and I happen.
I've never commented on your page. I've never commented on your page.
I didn't say my page.
I've never commented on your page.
If you come up on my page, if you come up like a feed, if your feed comes up and I say something, you
it's like I said, the algorithm's probably telling you need to learn. The algorithm's telling you need to learn.
I would bet Donald Trump has money, Elon Musk will throw in Oprah and Taylor Swift. I'm betting he will. He will not be able to help himself. And then he will tell you.
Help myself what? You're rubber banding all over the place.
He's going to talk to his friends. He'll talk to his family. And I will be brought up because now he has CDS. But anyway, I do have to go. I'm missing. My grandson is literally, he's in the hole. And if you're a wrestling parent or whoever fan, you know what that means. I got to get going. I've got to get back inside. Thank
you for proving my points. It was great having you.
Everybody, have a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the year. Seize the day. Never back down. God bless you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Holy smokes! That was a blast, and I'm thankful that Connie Karen or Karen Connie showed up. But holy crap! Talk about unhinged. Oh geez. That was levels of unhinged that I have not seen in a long time. Oh wow. Oh my gosh. The irony, folks, of being told that I'm the narcissist while you can't shut up, like literally could not be bothered to shut up. That is holy smokes. That was an amazing level of maybe that was the funnest thing I have ever had happen live on a show. Oh my gosh. And I mean, I've had some big guests on, guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm clearly in my own mind, I have TC privilege. So, referencing Larvina McFarquhar, who we were very good friends during COVID. Larvita, I have multiple interviews with Larvita on my stage. She had a restaurant, a nightclub type venue that she was keeping open during the lockdowns, and we interviewed Larvita numerous times, and so we were friends. And so yeah, some random person saying she cringed when you put your arm around her is absolutely Lord Vina McFarquad. No, that's very, very good, Buster. Larvita and I haven't talked to her in since 2021. Well, I shouldn't say since 2021. We've had she's been on the show at least once since 2021. But people grow apart. The things that unite you, like standing up to government tyranny, which, by the way, 2020's COVID mandates were all sparked because our inestimable president, Donald J. Trump, in 2020 is the one that declared the federal emergency that made it possible for governors to lock their states down. Without that federal emergency, we would not have seen governors have the financial backing to destroy their states' economies. So, yeah, and remember that Donald Trump didn't fire any of the people that were giving him bad advice. But yeah, anyway, Larvita was a friend and an ally during the COVID fights. I've had her on the show numerous times. The same with Lisa McDougal Hansen, who, literally she and I fought and bled together in the philosophical sense when they imprisoned her for keeping her business open during COVID. And I got news for you. I would hug her in front of my wife. So, just this woman has to, like, this is how unhinged. Like, if you're a Trump voter like I was, more power to you. Absolutely more power to you. Like, more power to you if you're a Trump voter and you are willing to take the slings and arrows and say, here's what he's doing good. Look, I flat out said his pardons of the J6 people were good. His pardon of, not pardons, but his pardon of the Silk Road founder, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now because I was having so much fun. But the founder of Silk Road, he pardoned the founder of Silk Road who was looking at spending literally the rest of his life in prison for having a website. And that is ridiculous. You should not be in prison for the rest of your life over having a website where people are doing things like, freely exchanging money for substances that they want to use. I'm looking it up now. I'm sorry. I can't let it go that I don't remember. Ross Ulbricht, excuse me. It was right there. But yeah, so he pardoned Ross Ulbricht. I was all for that. Like, he promised to end the war in Ukraine, and now we've just sent billions more to Ukraine. Oh, by the way, the first person to send the billions and the weapons packages to Ukraine before Biden was Trump. He promised that he was going to end the war in Gaza. That's still not ended. The ceasefire has been violated numerous times. Vintage Gaming, his website, people were freely exchanging cash adults were exchanging cash for substances they wanted to put in their body. Who cares? Like, literally, as long as I'm not paying for it, who cares? He got a pardon, so now it doesn't matter anymore because, he's pardoned. So, Trump has done some things I agree with. Like, I believe that, he's right in his argument about ending birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship should be ended. I don't think that just being able to get to the shores of the U.S. and having a baby should allow that baby to be an American. That was not the intent of the 14th Amendment. As much as I hate so much of the 14th Amendment, especially the way that the 14th Amendment was ratified, if you don't remember or know the history of the 14th Amendment was ratified when Northern troops were sent into the South and occupied any of the Southern states that refused to ratify the 14th Amendment, thereby using military force on Americans to take part in ratifying an amendment to the Constitution. And so when I say that Abraham Lincoln and others that followed him, Lincoln being the start of the fall of the Republic, when I talk about how bad Lincoln was as a president, that's why. He destroyed the Republic. He didn't free a single slave. He enslaved everybody in the United States. We are all slaves to the federal government now. Every single one of us. We are all slaves. They could do what they want with you at any time. And that's what the Rattlebox kept saying. Connie believes that you should be forced to have identification on you at all times, so that if you are stopped by a member of ICE or law enforcement for that matter, you should have to prove you are an American citizen on demand. No matter who you are. She's okay with that. She's absolutely 100% okay with that. Where do you draw the line? Where does that end? Where does that end? Is that not a violation of the Fourth Amendment? That is a form of unreasonable search. That's a form of an unreasonable expectation to give up the security of your personal belongings. Not to mention the fact that what if you live in an area where you don't drive? What if you live in an area where you don't drive? Should you be required to have an ID? Should you? And if you don't have an ID, does that mean then that if you're walking down the street and ICE detains you and you say, I don't want to tell you whether or not I'm a citizen, that they should be able to pick you up and haul you in until you can prove it? Folks, that is literally literally the very epitome of living in a police state. That's what she was arguing for. That's how ridiculous this was. AVA's in the background. AVA, unmute your mic. There you are. Can you hear us, AVA?
Hear you.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Hello, AVA. Hello.
Got a bad signal. I think everybody's got a bad signal today.
I think. There was a bad signal for sure.
Wow, that was wretched, man.
Oh. Lifelight 4065. I unequivocally endorse everything said and done. Can you explain what you mean by I unequivocally endorse everything said and done? Lifelight, would you like to come on and talk about this? I'll gladly give you the chance. AVA would be more than happy to give up his spot.
Absolutely.
Nope, you don't want to come on and talk about it. You just want to make a blanket statement. I unequivocally endorse everything said and done. You endorse everything said and done. Interesting. Everything that Trump has said and done since he's taken office. Okay, so about the Epstein list. Which part do you endorse without equivocation? Do you endorse the part where he was going to release it all on day one? Or do you endorse the part where they released it only to friendly influencers on social media? Okay, so everything. So Lifelight 4065 endorses everything that Trump has done. So he endorses that Trump said he was going to release the Epstein list basically on day one, and then only released it to influencers, but heavily redacted, so there was nothing there. And then he endorses that they lied and found out that they weren't going to release it, and then said there was no list. He endorses that lie, and then he endorses when Trump said it was a Democrat hoax. And then when actual liberty-loving, America first, America only types like Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and others got the ball rolling and finally got a veto-proof majority and compelled the release of the list, Donald Trump finally had to sign it. And we still haven't got it. And now they're fully, so they're redacting it all. It's been weeks. They're redacting everything. You fully endorse. Okay, you fully endorse that. So which part is the truth? Which part is the truth, Lifelight? Is it there is a list, or is there no list? Is it there are people on it and we need to go after them, or there are no people on it and it was all a hoax, or there are people on it, but we can't release it because it would affect national security. And so let's see. Okay. So we have a criminal act that AVA, I think you got to help me pull this thread. We have a criminal act that would impact national security if we exposed it. So basically, Lifelight 4065 is endorsing criminality and protecting it for the sake of protecting Mossad agents from geopolitical Zionist Israel who have compromised high profile, high power bankers and lobbyists and politicians and state agents and actors and things like that. So Lifelight 4065. Okay, are you ready, AVA? I'm gonna pull this final thread and then you tell me if I'm getting this right. You ready? Are you ready?
All right.
Lifelight 4065 is fully endorsed hiding child sex predators to protect the country from child sex predators who are all controlled by Mossad agents. He endorses that.
That's what it sounds like. Unless they have another comment.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
Unequivocally.
Unequivocally. I endorse everything said and done. We are on the cusp of an AVA. This is right up our alley. We are on the cusp of a war. I get Lifelight now. Lifelight's having fun. I like that Lifelight. I see what you're doing there. They give me monthly income. Are you getting any of that 7,000 a month, or is it a 7,000 a post? What was it, AVA? Was it 7,000 a month, or is it 7,000 a post?
It's a post.
7,000 per post. Man, you're Lifelight. You might be bucking for top paid just on your comments alone today. So, man, I wish Lifelight would have come on. That would have been fun to watch them be sarcastic. I figured out what Lifelight was doing there. Oh, this was actually a lot of fun because what we learned from the Karen that we just had on was that the reality is, how many times did she say it, AVA, that like she doesn't go looking for me, I just come up in the feed, right?
Right.
So
the amount of times that she accuses you of being a narcissist while displaying narcissistic tendencies.
Thanks for being here, Lifelight. That was fun. I really appreciate the fact that you gave me something to play off of. So that was actually a lot of fun. If this is your first time watching Lifelight, I hope that you will subscribe and come back and watch more, because I actually AVA knows I cover a lot of really important stories. So, but anyway, you were saying, AVA, about narcissism.
Yeah, it was wild to me that she kept accusing you, and it was, you're so cringe. Oh, what you did was cringe, and if your wife saw that, it's cringe.
But if she wasn't following your Facebook, you wouldn't come up in her feed. Exactly. Tell me, valid point or not, AVA, and watching audience. Is there maybe a reason why my content pops up in her algorithm now? I mean, just on it, don't you think that there might be some sort of, reason why? So,
well, you've already pointed it out. The algorithm, either she's typing you in or she's saying your name out loud,
which is,
which is
scary
okay.
Yeah. There was one thing that a lot of people who, this is the reference, and like really after this show, AVA, me, after I've moved on, I don't cling to, how I feel about drama. So does our co-host from Vetter Nation, Skipper. I don't go seeking drama. I will use it when necessary. How are the kids today, by the way?
They're doing a lot better. They were sick for like 2 weeks and finally kicked it off, but now I'm sick.
Yeah. You know what? I think this is the first time you've been on.
It is.
Wow, folks, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You guys are getting to experience AVA in the raw. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. That's a little weird.
Excuse me.
Jen, thanks. Jen Thunder says, I would love to meet you, TC and AVA, and get a hug. I would gladly hug you as long as it's not cringe. But see, so this is the reality that we're dealing with, is that AVA has witnessed my interactions with people over on Vet Nation, because AVA is one of my co-hosts from Vet Nation. If you guys aren't watching Vet Nation on a regular basis, you should. It's a great platform. Jugs, I'm a little offended now. You want a hug from Jen Thunder, but you don't want a hug from me? That's kind of, I'm going to take that personal, Jugs. I'm taking that personal. Jumps in front of Jen to get the hugs. We have an odd audience, and I love it. But KD Zipper. Well, thank you, KD Zipper. I'd like to shake your hand. Have you been in the stream before? I'm glad that you. If this is your first time stopping by, KD Zipper, I really appreciate you being here. But AVA, like our audience over in Vet Nation, there's a good percentage of people at Vet Nation that don't agree with me when we do Vet Nation Live.
Right. But
How
they
do
don't
I
obsess
handle
over it.
Well, not even that, even if they do obsess. How do I handle it when they push back?
You invite them on for a debate.
Right. How many of them actually have shown up at Vet Nation for a debate too, by the way, is the other one.
None.
But I never like Skipper and I butt heads on topics constantly.
Yes.
Constantly. And we remain friends and we remain civil.
And that's the great thing about it is you guys are able to come to an agreement and not have to fight about it or get narcissistic about it.
Katie Zipper is someone I know locally, and he just changed his name, so that's why I didn't recognize him. I should have one of the mods mute him for about an hour for the week that he gave me. Son of a biscuit. Oh, if for those in the know, he's the reason my hand has been throbbing this week. But what are we agreeing? What are we? Oh, I see. But this is the reality when you run into people that are this obsessed with their political ideology. And when I mean political ideology, really what it's linked to most of the time is one particular individual. And that has been when you talk about Trump derangement syndrome, and AVA, you've heard me bring this up so many times, right? The reality of Trump derangement syndrome is it has two camps of symptoms. It has the side that everything that they say about him all the time, without fail, is always evil constantly. They hate him, they despise him, and they want bad things to happen to him, and that he's never done anything good. And then you have the other side, which is they worship the ground that he walks on. And AVA, you and I have talked about that constantly since we met.
Yes. Sorry if I'm not fully engaged right now. I got my monsters.
Totally understand. My grandkids are here with my daughter. They're in the other room. So, but we're in that realm where we have to take a step back and we have to ask ourselves, like, what is causing, and if you're paying any attention, and those that know me know that I'm not a leftist. I absolutely despise, the Marxist left. In the sense of, I don't despise the individuals. I see Jugs. I missed it. Jugs says, "Don't be offended, TC. I would not say no to a hug from you." That's awesome. Jugs has been one of my ever since we met. Jugs has been a channel member going on. In fact, I think Jugs is the top channel member as far as his level of support. And by the way, AVA is a channel member as well. So thank you, AVA, for having joined. And everybody else that channel memberships. I really appreciate that. Also want to give a shout out to Natalie. Those of you who don't know, I finally named my researcher by first name only. She is a behind the scenes all-star. Natalie does an amazing amount of research for me. So when you see videos where I'm doing live streams where I'm doing breakdowns and I have data on individuals in the videos, the cops and whatnot, and I'm learning about their histories and I'm learning about their driving records and things like that, it's because Natalie is out there pulling research. And Natalie also pays for most of the data requests when we get them. So when I have dash cam, a lot of times, and I'm going to be doing the Trooper Ryan Moser dash cam. AVA, you've been wanting to see that for a while.
Oh yeah, that's important. How long have you had to wait for that?
I've had it in my Dropbox now for 3 weeks, but I'm working with the family to just make sure that we're all on the same page about what I do with it. So,
okay.
But we've been basically waiting on it since I found out the gist of the story. But Natalie paid for that. She paid for that.
Thank you, Natalie.
So thank you very much to Natalie. Like I said, so she is my unpaid volunteer researcher, and that puts her in as top tier for all the work that she's done. She is a top tier show producer. Ruth W480 Marxist left is not really a thing in this country. Certainly not a powerful movement. Actually, I would dispute that, Ruth or Ruth W. Sorry if I don't get if there's a reference to that. I don't understand it. I would dispute that. I believe that the Marxists, the progressive left, and when I say Marxist left, I'm not making a reference to economic Marxism. I'm making a reference to Gramscian Marxism, which is social Marxism, which is different than economic Marxism. Antonio Gramsci was an Italian Marxist who had a different approach to Marxism than Karl Marx did. He believed that instead of dividing people in groups by economic classes, that you should divide them along social classes. So you could have somebody who was wealthy but be in a social class that was oppressed. And he ended up getting himself imprisoned in Italy by the fascist regime in Italy because of his views. And his Gramsci's letters from prison are a very eye-opening read. If you've never had an opportunity to read Gramsci, you should, because I advocate that everyone should read and know thy enemy on a philosophical level. So, and AVA's heard me say that before. You cannot oppose a system if you do not understand the system. And that's why when people make references to commies or Marxists, I often ask, which type are you talking about? Because economic Marxists are not the threat to our country. Social Marxists are, Gramscian Marxists. And the reason that I say that, and many of you know the name, the book Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky was actually a student of, wait for it, Antonio Gramsci. And Saul Alinsky is one of the reasons why our institutions were taken over. And it was Saul Alinsky who learned from Antonio Gramsci about the long, slow trudge through the institutions. What Gramsci aspired to was to win the hearts and minds of the people by placating them, by taking over the institutions. The first institution that they wanted to take over, AVA, which one do you think it was?
I don't even want to guess.
That's fine. You can tell that you weren't paying attention. I understand.
I wasn't paying attention.
Saul Alinsky, being a student of Gramsci, the first institution they wanted to take over were public schools. They wanted to take over public education. And if you look at the two people that are considered the founders of public education in the United States, one of them being John Dewey. Many of you are familiar with John Dewey because of the Dewey Decimal System. But there was also Horace Mann. Their goal was to bring in Prussian styles of education, which is why, what's the first level? Okay, now AVA, pay attention, answer this question. When you enter to public schools, what's the first grade level?
Preschool.
No, that's preschool.
Okay, kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Anybody raise, put a 1 in the chat if you know where kindergarten comes from. Kindergarten comes from the German Kindergarten. So we adopted the Prussian model of schooling, which was, and I'm going to be doing this sometime. Kindergarten was adopted from the Prussian models, and it was meant to turn our schools into, ready for this? Pay attention. Who starts their day with a bell in history? What do we know about the workforce? How did people know to start their day at work? What would happen at the start of a shift? Anybody?
Bell.
A bell, right? Who used those bells? Factories.
Churches. Oh, okay,
Nope.
factories.
Factories.
I'm not going to
Factories.
make any more answers because I'm going to get them
No,
all wrong.
I love it when you answer because it gives me something to play off of. You just answer and just be as unhinged as you want.
Okay.
I promise I won't call you Karen, AV. I won't call you Connie either. So factories, as we began the Industrial Revolution, they would start a shift at a factory with a bell. Then break time would come. How did you know it was break time? A bell. How did you know break time was over? AVA.
A bell.
Mm-hmm. What about lunchtime?
A whistle. No, a bell.
A bell. But some places use steam whistles too. You know. Anybody picking up on this yet? What did our schools start to use to start the day?
Oh, shift
Not the
change
kind of
by
bell
bell.
not the kind of bell that you saw in Little House on the Prairie where they, the teacher was out ringing a bell. Well, Chris Braun, I'm glad that you think this is dumb, but it's historical. And if you're interested in coming on and talking about it, I'll gladly give you the link. We'll put the link to, and you can come in here and we'll see who's dumb. But we're not talking about the kind of bell that you saw in Little House on the Prairie where Miss Beasley or Beetle or whatever her name was would ring the bell. We're talking about that factory sounding bell or that factory sounding steam whistle. And they would blow that steam whistle or they'd ring that mechanical bell and factories would start their days and then they would go on and they would do their breaks and their lunches and their end of their day and the next shift start would be a bell. And then we did that with our schools. Why? What AVA, if you had to guess, why were they bringing that bell system into the government operated centers of indoctrination?
Training you for the workforce.
You got it. And that was the Prussian model. The Prussian model, and we can have a conversation about the history of World War I, why World War I was fought, whether or not the Prussian Empire was the bad guy in World War I. There are ways for people to make an argument about it. But World War I is not what we were told it was about. It was not about German dominance. It was about fighting off the communist takeover of Western Europe from the East. But the Prussian model was also a very strong tool for the Marxists in the United States under people like Horace Mann and Saul Alinsky and John Dewey, because we could condition the kids. The kids would hear dad go off to work and he would start his day on a bell and he would end his day on a bell. And the kids would go off to school and they would start their day on a bell and they would end their day on a bell. Now, studies were done scientifically. And for those of you that paid attention in your biology classes and psychology classes, there was a researcher by the name of Pavlov. And Pavlov learned through study that animals could be conditioned to respond to stimuli. And in Pavlov's cases, we in particular, the dogs that Pavlov used were trained to basically, they were conditioned to salivate at the sound of a bell, because what they would do is they would ring a bell, then they would give them their food. And then they would ring the bell and they'd give them their food. And then as they saw them developing that trait, then they would ring the bell and not give them food. The dog would automatically salivate because the dog was being conditioned. And then they took those principles and they began to apply that to human conditioning. And then they saw that begin to work, or they saw how that worked in the Prussian model of schooling that was adopted by the United States, which was to condition kids. And the stated goal of the government school system was, by the fathers of the modern American education system, Horace Mann and John Dewey, was to remove children first from the influence of their parents and then from the influence of the church, and to make them wards of the state. And that's why they were conditioning them with the bells, to make them good workers. They wanted to produce workers, mass workers. They were turning schools into production lines. And so this all comes into play because it was Zelensky then who came in and applied Gramscian Marxism to the government school system. And the first thing that they did was they began to bring communism and Marxism into the government schools by getting to the teachers. And they got to the teachers by getting to the higher education. So the first thing that they did was they took over higher learning. They took over that system. And then those teachers were conditioned to go down into the schools and begin to teach that and model that to government students. So Chris Braun says, wrong. World War II was about money. That war made millions for very powerful people. I never said it wasn't about money. But it was not about the Germans who wanted the money. It was about bankers, in particular in the West, who wanted an excuse to fight the war to keep a lock on the economic system. Prussia, the what we refer to as the Prussian side of the war, of World War I, they were very much focused on keeping communism out of their country. The German Empire was trying, along with the Ottoman Turks, were trying to defeat communism. They did not want communism to take over. And the man who assassinated Archduke Ferdinand was an ardent communist sympathizer. So, sorry, the West fought that war for money, and they had to lie, like they do with every war the United States has been in. They had to lie the United States into the war, and they orchestrated the attack on the Lusitania, the sinking of the Lusitania. If you don't know the full story of the sinking of the Lusitania, that's how they lied the U.S. into the war. And when I say lied the U.S. into the war, I don't mean that the American people were lied, or the American government, the power brokers at the time. The power brokers were all on board with going to war with Prussia. They were all on board with taking part in the war. They just needed to get the American people on. And I don't know, AVA, can you think of another war immediately after the Great War that became known as another war like the Great War? Can you think, AVA, of another event that was used to drum up support for America entering into another global conflict? AVA, can you think of another event?
9/11. Well, sorry, not that event, but
I mean, the
supposed war on terror.
Wrong, but I'm thinking of one further back in history. So
maybe the Vietnam conflict.
Nope, even further, because there was a lie there as well.
Or aren't they all lies?
Pearl Harbor, folks. December 7th, I wrote an essay about it and put it up on my Substack and on my Facebook. The day that would live in infamy, right? The United States knew about the imminent, in AVA, I think you might have read my piece, I don't know. They knew, we have factually developed the reality that Roosevelt knew that the attack on Pearl Harbor was coming. And the truth of the matter was that he let it happen, allowed it to happen, so that he could gin up support from the American people to get involved in the war. And one of the reasons Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, attacked the Americans, was because of the economic sanctions that the U.S. was putting on Japan, like cutting off oil and whatnot. So, Chris Braun, you keep bringing up that particular ethnicity. It was not the ethnicity, it was early Zionism that was influencing a lot of this. Zionism had been around since the early or late 1800s, but it was not all Jews. Not all Jews are on board with Zionism. Zionism is not a Jewish 100% inclusive of all Jewish people. Zionists are evil. ZJ United, Zionism is Zionism is only for those who want to be involved in it, but we also now have Christian Zionism, which is a sellout to the Zionist movement. But not all Jews are Zionists, just like not all Christians are Zionists. I am a Reformed Christian. I am not a Zionist. I despise Zionism. I reject geopolitical Zionist Israel. And I have Jewish friends who reject geopolitical Zionist Israel. So, I mean, you could call that retarded, but it's factual. And I'd be more than happy to give you a platform to come up and talk about it, as long as you could talk about it in, with civility. But Zionism, it is not, when I say exclusively for the Jews, it is not exclusively the totality of people who are of Jewish descent. But Buster Cheeks says, to be fair, that's what a bell is made for. Well, I don't disagree with that. Bells are made for, but they're also made for other things. They're made for alerts. They're made for celebrations. Bells, more often than not, are used in music. So, no, Chris, the majority of Jews are not Zionist. The vast majority of Jews around the world are not Zionist. A very small percentage of Jews are actually Zionist. It's just that we get a large amount of light shown on Jewish Zionists because of institutions like AIPAC, which I absolutely despise. AVA knows how I feel about AIPAC, don't you, AVA?
Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely despise AIPAC. I also despise everyone who takes money from AIPAC, to include, are we ready for it? Eye Patch McCain, Dan Crenshaw. Despise Dan Crenshaw, who is threatening to sue Sean Ryan for asking hard questions about how Eye Patch McCain has made so much money as a United States member of the House, or from Texas as a member of the U.S. House, making about $140,000 a year, yet throwing multi-million-dollar parties for himself, and has increased his stock portfolio by over 61% in just the last year alone. Any questions, anyone? Eye Patch McCain is a great example of AVA's leaving me in 3 minutes, you bastard. But I'm going to wrap this up too. So well, no, Buster, I don't disagree that a bell is just a bell, but they are used for, different things. And the conditioning of children in government centers of indoctrination via the bell was initially intended to turn them into compliant workers, so that when they left, they went right out into the workforce and were ready to adapt to that workforce. So ABA, before you leave, abandon me, you adulterous heathen Polynesian.
And you're welcome for all of that.
I am bringing all the races into it.
I'm a mutt. It's all right.
You are. Yeah, you are. I agree. Tell everybody where they can find you and what's really important to you right now.
You can find me at Veterans Affairs Media here on YouTube. Most of my stories is just about the harassment and corruption at the VA. Well, my VA in particular. I haven't been able to go to other VAs, but I have interactions with staff, the police. Just my point to providing this information is that the VA is very corrupt and it's not a safe place for veterans.
No, not at all. And yet Skipper keeps trying to talk me into filing claims. So
one day it'll help you. Well,
yeah,
yes,
I know.
No.
You
I take that one back.
You go get out of here. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming in and allowing me to use you to pull threads.
Okay. Never again.
Yeah. In so many ways.
All right. Adios, everyone.
Adios. AVA is my brother, man. And when I'm brother, I don't use like he's like I'm not actually related to him because no one wants that. What's Chris Brown say? Chris Brown says that's like saying I know a few Muslims who don't want to blow up when the Quran and Hadiths and all their church leaders say the opposite. No, it's not the same. And the reason that I say that is because as a percentage, the vast majority of the people who are of Jewish descent in the United States are immersed in American culture. They want to be part of the American culture. The Zionists, on the other hand, want to change American culture. And that's much the same as even the people within Islam who are coming over now are not interested in merging with American culture. They literally want to change the American culture. And so even if their goal is not to do that through violence, what they're trying to do is make absolutely very powerful political and socio-philosophical changes to the American way of life via population takeover. And so many of the people who are of Jewish descent, even those who are practicing Jews like that, there is a strong movement of Orthodox Judaism in the United States that despises Zionism. And they are very vocal about their hate for Zionism. Well, Chris Braun, that's like saying the only Jewish voice that matters are the ones in power. Sure, like 5% of Jews don't like. No, it's far more than 5% of the Jews that don't like Zionism. It's far more than 5%. No, 75% don't love it. Like you cannot find an accurate poll. You know, if could accurately poll people who are purely of Hebrew descent, the Hebrew people, the descendants of Abraham, they do not support Zionism. They just absolutely do not. It is literally the American church, the American dispensationalists and other weak-minded evangelicals that actually keep Zionism alive in the U.S. That's the only reason that AIPAC no, not every single synagogue is. That's just patently untrue, Chris. It's patently untrue. Not every single synagogue is full of Zionists. There are massive amounts of local synagogues that absolutely despise Zionism. There again, you are far more likely to run into a Christian Zionist than you are a Jewish Zionist in the United States. Just walking down the street without even bringing in what form of Christianity, you're just more likely to meet a non-Jewish person who is into Zionism than you are to meet a Jew by ethnicity who is into Zionism in the U.S. Zionism is a Marxist movement. The people who've left, and for the most part, that left Marxist countries, left communist countries, that's not true. No, it's not. It's like no, that's not even in keeping with even Old Testament Jewish religion. Like, and the Talmud is far different than the Old Testament teachings. By far, the Talmud is a different set of scriptures than the Old Testament. They include the Old Testament in their readings, but the Talmud is far different. Like, what? That's like saying, like a Christian saying, I love murder and gay sex, but I'm Christian. No, that's not even close to the same. Have I got to I don't have time for all of this yet today, Buster. But what I'll say about, most of this is really about the takeover of the American education system. It was formulated by Marxists, and there were Marxists of every stripe. I hate to bail. My old eyes are done. Still listening. Have a great day and be safe out there, y'all. TC respects her. Thank you, STD. Folks, you guys got to tune into STD. He does a really cool Thursday night rant. He doesn't know it, but I do listen. I just don't always get to listen live. But I love, and he's got some connections to some really cool people. And then he's cool the way it is, but he's got some really cool connections to people. But yeah, the reality is that Zionism is predominantly driven by Americans in America Christians. It would die a very quick death if the United States Christian Zionists would stop supporting it. But they're all theologically insecure and stupid. I'm sorry, if you are a Christian Zionist, you are stupid. You are a stupid person if you are a Christian Zionist. The two things cannot exist. That's like when I point out to people, oh, we have Judeo-Christian values. No such thing as Judeo-Christian values. Judeo-Christian did not become a thing until there was a book written in the late 1800s that first mentioned it, and it had nothing to do with values. It actually had to do with Jewish people who converted to Christianity and left the Jewish faith. But it's then got adopted and changed to become a thing where they tried to say that, how do I want to say it? That there were shared values between Christianity and Judaism as it's practiced in modern times, which is patently untrue. But we do have the root Abrahamic religions, right? We have the root Abrahamic religions are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, because they're Abrahamic religions because the founders of each of those religions come from the line of Abraham. That's it. That's why they are called Abrahamic religions. That's how they trace them. And that's where it ends, because Christianity and Judaism diverge strongly at the New Testament, and Islam diverges strongly post canon Christianity. So it's hard to argue pre-47 that America was in charge. Did American democracy birth Israel, or did American Zionists? Oh, Buster Cheeks, I agree wholeheartedly. 1947 was maybe the first unipolar moment of history, in modern history, where a strong Western power stepped onto the stage and remained a strong Western power. Now, there were other powers. Obviously, we had the dueling superpowers of the Soviet Union and the U.S., but the Soviet Union was doomed to failure. It could not manage itself. So, yeah, it was doomed to failure. But the other unipolar moment happened really with the fall of the Soviet Union, where the United States stepped onto the world stage and said, hey, we're here, and ain't nobody here to fight us off. And so they sucked us into a 20-plus year war in the Middle East to show just how long the American empire had left. And now the insiders, to include the Trump administration, are doing everything they can to cling to the power of the American empire and to keep it alive. So the Marxists wanted to inculcate the schools to be able to win the hearts and minds of the children, to separate the children from the parents, and to separate the children and the parents from the church. And they've been very successful. Most people who send their kids to public schools would claim to be Christian, but yet allow their kids to go and be indoctrinated by schools that teach them everything that is antithetical to everything that they say they believe. So that's where that's at. And so that's why I was bringing up the importance of World War One, the Great War, and the reality that schools are set up and designed to destroy families. Want to save the family and public schools. And my esteemed debate partner, Connie, who couldn't shut up, was talking about how much she, loved kids and loved her kids, and everything she was doing was fight for kids, and basically didn't imply and like flat out stated that I don't care what happened to kids and I wanted them indoctrinated. And like I pointed out that my kids started homeschooling at what most people would consider preschool and never spent a single day in public education. And now my daughter is homeschooling her 3 children. And her husband, who was dragging his feet at first, is fully on board. So it's a generational thing, and we can sway people. And if we want to protect kids and we want to protect society, then we really could end it all by ending public school indoctrination camps, government indoctrination centers. But there are a lot of people out there who are bootlicking status, like my debate guest at the beginning of the show, who, bootlicking statist. Majority of cops are right. ICE is all good. Everything that ICE is doing is good. Everything that Trump is doing is good. Sends her kids to government-run education, government indoctrination centers. But I'm the leftist. I want let that sink in. I'm the leftist. I'm the libtard. I'm the demon rat. But my kids didn't spend a single day in a government indoctrination center. Now, that doesn't mean my kids are perfect. Doesn't mean that I did everything right with my kids. I made so many mistakes with my children. So many mistakes. Still make mistakes. Make mistakes with my grandkids. But I don't support government schools. I mean, I do because they take money from me for taxes. But I don't endorse government schools at all. I think they should all be shut down. Absolutely. I think we should evaporate, for the most part, the federal government. There should be no federal government outside of protecting interstate commerce and conducting trade agreements with foreign countries. Protect our borders, which is what the military is for. Could you imagine with me for just a minute, folks? Just imagine with me for just a minute. Just bear with me for just a minute. If we stop sending our soldiers off to fight in worthless, illegal, military-industrial complex, corrupt major banker wars around the world, if we didn't have almost 1,000 military bases spread around the world, if we didn't have troops in Syria right now, if we didn't have troops sitting in European countries to prepare to go to war in case things don't stop between Russia and Ukraine, if we didn't have all our troops scattered all over the world fighting stupid, worthless wars that don't do us any favors, if we didn't have a massive amount of troops sitting off the coast of Venezuela getting ready to invade Venezuela today, if instead we put our troops on our own borders, gee, I wonder what would happen. Do you believe in homeschooling for just grade school or university as well? Is there any gifts that your children could have whereby you being the sole teacher of them inhibits their ability? Do you believe in homeschooling for just grade school or university as well? Well, for one, I don't support the university system. I think that we could survive as a country with a far limited number of universities. Second, you can't really do a university level education at home. I think kids do need certain type of professorial education on some subjects if they're going to go off into a trade, or not a trade, but into some sort of profession that would require that. I mean, kids aren't going to learn to be surgeons at home. I think if you have a child that you see as gifted, there are ways to foster that gifting in that child through means outside of government-run education systems. So when we'd have a lot more money to invest in private education if we didn't have to spend so much money on government indoctrination centers. So I mean, you begin to pull at one thread, you begin to pull them all. So is there any gifts that you show? Right. I don't know. I had a lot of I was educated in public schools, and I had a lot of gifts that were not fostered by the vast majority of my teachers in my education experience. I had 2 teachers in particular who fostered my writing, one who fostered my singing, because I used to sing a lot. But Venezuela is not on our border, Major Woody. And you can call me a doofus all you want, but I'm an anti-interventionist. I don't believe the United States has any business intervening in the foreign affairs of another country. And no one has demonstrated that Venezuela is bringing in as much anywhere, not like nothing compared to what Mexico is when it comes to fentanyl. So if there's a doofus in this conversation, Major Woody, that'd be you. Venezuela is not an importer of narcotics to the United States, and the boats that are being blown up off the coast of Venezuela in international waters don't have the power to get anywhere near the American coast. Mexico is the problem. And we're not about to go to war with China because China has a strong foothold in Mexico, which is why Trump is picking on Venezuela. Oh, and oil resources, just like Iraq. So they lied us into war in Iraq to get Iraq's natural resources. We accomplished nothing. We lost thousands upon thousands of my fellow veterans' lives in Iraq for the Iraqi oil. What did we gain in Afghanistan? Nothing. 22 a day dead from their experiences for the last 20 plus years. So yeah, you can call me doofus all you want, but whatever. I've been called worse by better. When I was a homeschool dad, I wasn't the sole teacher. I was like the conductor of their education. Their teachers were doctors and world champions. Yeah, we used a plethora of curriculi for educating our children. And we administered the curriculi, but the curriculi was often taught by incredibly skilled people. So I understand what you are saying. Do anyone else offer a point of view to your child other than you and your wife? Oh, my children were always encouraged to have conversations with other people. My son doesn't agree with me philosophically, at all. Well, I shouldn't say at all. There are areas where we have some strong disagreements. And my daughter and her husband are far more in the camp of MAGA than I would care for them to be. So they're very much allowed to make their own decisions, form their own philosophical core beliefs, and I applaud them for pursuing those. I absolutely applaud them for pursuing those, and would encourage everybody to do that with your children. Even if you feel like you don't have a choice but to get your children into a government center of indoctrination, I still encourage you to sit down and have those conversations with your children about your philosophical worldview. Whether it's Christianity or Judaism or Islamism or Buddhism or secular atheism, which is a religion. You should have those conversations with your children, and you should encourage your children to be having intelligent, Socratic conversations with adults. Most people don't encourage their children to speak to adults. Most people don't encourage their children to have conversations with adults in a respectful way to challenge and to be educated by. So It's a weakness, especially from people coming, people who had the boomer generation parents. Like I was raised by boomers, and they like you didn't question adults ever. You didn't, like, if an adult told you something was true, you just said yes sir, yes ma'am, and went on. And I've always told my children to be respectful to their elders, but to it's okay to question their elders and to push their elders on topics and issues and concerns, especially when it comes to worldview and philosophy. So, um, no, my children would be, um, my children would not be the decent, wonderful people that they are if the only influence they ever got in their lives was me. But that's a good question, Jason Jeffords. Thanks for asking. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Um, right people assume, this is from Buster, right people assume that's all about how smart or expert the parent is and teaching every possible category, but in reality, you just have a more vested interest in specifically where they learn. Absolutely. Yeah, you didn't want me teaching my kids mathematics, I'll tell you that. I'm good with like teaching economics, but don't ask me to teach my kids higher math. I am not math brained. Um, I am a mathematical idiot. I cannot stand math. Jen Thunder says I was raised that way. Uh, it's an interesting perspective. Can you see limitations on certain family makeup socially or economically that make homeschooling difficult? Well, economically, yeah, there are definitely economic challenges to homeschooling, but I think when it comes to family, you have to be willing to make sacrifices, Jason. And that's what we did. Like, we didn't take vacations like where we actually were gone for days on end. We took little mini trips as a family here and there, but we didn't take vacations for almost 20 years. And so we made a lot of sacrifices financially to be able to do it. My wife stayed home from work for the entire time that our kids were in what would have been considered traditional school years. So my wife was stay home from work for nearly 18 years between my son and my daughter. And when I say between my son and daughter, I don't mean a combined between the two of them. I mean from when my daughter started, who's older, 3 years older than my son, until when my son finished his schooling. That was almost 18 years that she was a stay-at-home mom. We had no other income, and she worked far harder than I did. Jen Thunder says what my parents said was true. It's an interesting perspective. Can you see limitations on certain families? Yeah, there's always going to be some limitations. I think, yeah, there are, certain types of people that you don't want them to have that kind of unfettered, unchecked social interaction with their own children. But those people would be dangerous to their children, whether they were in government schools or homeschool. I think that's something that people miss an awful lot. People miss that an awful lot. There are a lot of kids that are abused by their parents, both physically, emotionally, psychologically, sexually abused by their parents, who go to government schools, and it's never caught. So economics, like we've already answered. Socially, I don't know. Like, it's I think it's I think if you love your kids, you should want them to be, you want to teach them your dogmatics, and the best place to do that is in your own home. It's always difficult, but it's a sacrifice people typically choose against making that sacrifice. Absolutely. Our family went camping up in New Hampshire. Yes, Jen Thunder, I was also raised kids were seen and not heard. Absolutely. I don't care how poorly you think you'd be at homeschooling your children. You can't do worse than the government. That's 100% true. Thank you very much, KD. Appreciate that comment. And I'm going to read this one, and I'm going to wrap this up before we get to 2 hours. So I guess what I'm trying to identify, while homeschooling may be ideal, if we limit public education, that could hinder progress for those kids who cannot be homeschooled. Is that a possibility? Only if you think about it, Jason, in the perspective of it's public school or nothing. And I know that's not what you're saying, but that's really the only way you can arrive at the conclusion that people will be hindered. Because prior to what we know as the public school system today, there were no government schools. Prior to Horace Mann, prior to John Dewey, there were no government schools. there were community schools, and by community, what that meant was the local towns and townships got together and they formed their own school, oftentimes taught by a school marm who taught from the church building. Whatever the churches were in that town, they would meet and teach in the school, or they would teach school in the church building. And so I think it's one of those where, oh, the cat's out of the bag now, there's no chance you're going to get it back in the bag. And I can understand that argument because we've been conditioned to see public schools, government schools as normative, and they're just not. They're not normative, and they shouldn't be normative. And I think if we could dismantle the government school system, there would be a lot more money in our society, in our economy, for people to be able to make their choices as to whether or not they wanted to form their own private cooperatives for education, buy more expensive curriculum that they could do at home, and we'd all be better off. And I got news for you. The weird homeschool kid would have been the weird public school kid too. Do you have any examples of societies that wholly succeed with no public schooling? I mean, I guess it's something I couldn't give you an answer to right now, because I would have to have a broad. I would have to have more than a broad example of all the educational styles and systems in the entire world, and I just don't know. I don't know that answer. I do not know that answer. What I will tell you is that predominantly in the United States, home-educated children are outperforming their public school, public indoctrination center peers to the tunes of hundreds of points higher, if you want to use a point system. Percentage-wise, way outperforming government-educated children. So, Jason, thanks for being here. I hope that you'll stick around and check out some of my other comment. Everybody's got a lot of really good. So, the fifth directive, AMEC believes mental issues and panhandling comes from homeschool and public schooling. Nothing matters if character is not engaged. Well, that's fair. Character does have to be engaged for sure. Character always matters. Ethics matter. Morality matters. And if you don't know what the difference between morality and ethics are, morality is what you believe to be, what you know to be right or wrong. Ethics is how you practice your morality. So yeah. Dr. Mitri, I got guts. What's up? I don't, well, thanks for saying you got guts, Dr. Mitri. Really appreciate you stopping in at the end of the show. So I am going to end this here, folks. If you want to see what a narcissistic, prattle-mouthed, low info, low IQ individual looks like, you need to go back to the beginning of this, where I just let my debate guest on, and I did not interrupt her. I muted her once to make a point, and she did nothing but just empty ad hominem logical fallacies, red herring logical fallacies, straw man logical fallacies. Dr. Mitri, glad for you being here. I hope that everybody who watched had a good time and we learned something today. And thank you for sticking around for me to be able to chat with AVA. I haven't done one of these kind of free-for-alls in a very, very long time. So I took the opportunity to do it after my invited debate challenged individual took off, and I enjoyed it. So we're going to end this here. I hope everybody has subbed. If you haven't subbed, please do so. If you do sub and you like what I'm doing here, become a member. And until next time, my friends, fight for your freedom, it is yours. Fight for your liberty, it belongs to you. And Sic Semper Tyrannis.
We are go for liftoff in T-30. Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. Secondary guidance systems engaged. Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark. engagement. You are over the target. You are authorized to fire at